So my goal, especially being brand new, being my first year, I was trying to just stay in my lane and do what I can do and do what I can control. And I can't control the stats once the game's over. But one of my friends brought it up at the end of the year when I was still hurt. And he was looking at my stats and he was like, dude, you still lead the team in strikeouts and you haven't pitched in a month and a half.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of To the Show We Go Baseball Podcast. Today's episode, we have another Red Sox minor league pitcher. This time he is a lefty, and he spent the 2024 season in Salem, pitching for the Salem Red Sox. We have Jojo Ingrassia on today. Jojo, I know you kind of hinted at your what you're up to right now, but I guess for everybody at home, how has your off season been? I know you kind of ended the season on. Well, I think you had a little injury bump in the middle of the season, kind of finished it. But how has the off season been for you?
Been good. What I expected. We're just trying to put a ton of weight on me and then gain some strength, hoping that with extra weight and extra strength, we can take some of the stress off my arm and make it through the next year and for the years to come.
I want to ask you about your 2024 season because if anybody looked at your box score stats, you had an incredible season.
Thank you.
I know a lot of people. I know it's a little dated, and I know the Red Sox probably don't look at ERA as much, but I know for the fans out there, obviously you had a 1.85 ERA, which stands out. Your WHIP was under one, 14 and a half K per nine. They kind of speak for themselves when you look at the box score. What worked for you this year? Like what brought you so much success on the mound?
I think a big thing was adding my slider back. It was a big pitch for me in the limited innings I had my first years of college. Went to Fullerton, and a big philosophy they have is throw a changeup in the zone. And I had a big splitter that was your typical splitter. It goes wherever it wants to go and moves however it wants to move at that time. So I couldn't really get it in the zone, and I really hammered on trying to figure out how to throw it in the zone consistently and kind of put my slider on the back burner. So I think adding that pitch back and having consistency was like a huge thing. And then uptake in velocity and just figuring out how my body works and letting my body do what it wants to do naturally instead of fighting my mechanics. And then, as you saw over the season, I got progressively more cross body, kind of adapted into the Chris Sale thing that some people were throwing out there. And then I think it was just a mentality difference. Just go out there and not trying to be perfect, but just throw in the zone and let people get themselves out. And if they get into a two-strike count, that's where I excel, and that's where I can get outs and do what I do best. So I think it was just playing into my strengths and then adding my slider back.
I am going to ask you about the Chris Sale thing in a second here, but I did see something that you appeared in 21 games in Salem. You started 12 of them. You even picked up a save at some point along the year. And I noticed your last year at Fullerton, you pitched in 26 games. You didn't start any of them, and you'd actually closed a little bit at Fullerton. How was it, I guess, being in the starting rotation this year and then also having to go back to relieving and then also closing a game?
It was fun. I started throughout high school, and most of my life I was a starter. Went to college my freshman year, and it was COVID year, so a ton of pitchers came back. So I kind of got pushed to the pen, and I realized like I'm a freshman, I can't say anything about it. I just got to put my head down and grind. So I got used to going in the pen, and then I started in the pen in Salem, which that's where I was comfortable at. That's where I pitched the whole year at Fullerton. And then transitioning to a starter was weird. I got so accustomed to just the big one inning adrenaline dump come in. You don't have to worry about sequencing or anything. It's just my best stuff versus you guys, and I'm gonna go right through you instead of all right. Last time I got this guy out on a changeup. Let's figure it out. So that was a big difference for me. And then just controlling my stamina. Coming out of the pen, you're used to just throwing 1, 2 innings. I think Fullerton, the most I went was 3. And now it's like, okay, now I got to get through 5. So maybe I'm not unloading the tank in the first and second inning. Maybe I'm cruising through those, and those last 3 innings I can uptick a little bit, but still pitching. Still, job doesn't change. It's just the point in the game changes a little bit, and the way you go about your routines off the field changes. But something I like, and hopefully I can keep going on as a starter. But whatever role they see me in.
Now, I did want to ask you, and then we'll shoot to you, Jamie. I did want to ask about the Chris Sale thing because I did see a few things on Twitter about it. But what would you say? I guess what about your game? Do you think? Because obviously a lot of Red Sox fans know Chris Sale for good reason, and he's been one of the best pitchers in the game for the last decade. So what about your game or about your is it the delivery? Like what do you think you see like a little bit of Chris Sale in you?
So I didn't really see it. I don't really try to compare myself to anybody. Just go out there and be who I am, be who the guy I've been my whole life. But it's the cross body and the way I come across, or the way I drop my arm slot at the very end, and then it's about horizontal approach angles. We have pretty similar numbers in that aspect, and then the main pitch the punch out pitch is the slider. So I think it helped that I was in a Red Sox uniform a little bit. We saw the great years he had, and then you see me coming cross body, throwing a slider, striking guys out with it. It was easy to make a little bit of comparison, but I mean, I heard Juan, the pitching coach in Salem, say it. I was like, it's pretty cool. It's an honor to be compared to someone as good as him. I mean, went out and won the Triple Crown this year, so
What were some of the biggest adjustments you had to make just with it being your first minor league season and adjusting to just the life of being a professional baseball player?
there's a lot more downtime as like a big leaguer or a minor leaguer. I mean, in college, you gotta be able to balance school and then go to practice, and then sometimes you got class after practice, and then you have weights to mix in there with all your homework and studying for tests. So a lot more downtime, but also just it's a lot more on your own. They don't tell you, hey, you have weights at this time. It's all right. I'm gonna get all my stuff done. I'm gonna go lift and get out to the game, and it's no one really monitors you as much and like is all over you. It's kind of, hey, we're here if you need us to help you. We're here to guide you, but we're not here to babysit you and tell you everything you need to do. It's a big thing like we have is it's your career, so yeah, they're here to help you, but also they want to see how much you can achieve on your own and how much you can work. It's kind of like preparing you for the off season a little bit too, because most of the time, like we have the dead period now, so for at least a month, we can't talk to the coaches. So everything comes on our backs, and it's how much do you want it? How much are you going to work for it? So I think that was the biggest adjustment. At the end of the day, it's still baseball. The goal is to get outs, and that'll never change. So I think those were just the adjustments. Like someone's not telling me what to do, and someone's not like structuring my day for me. It's based off when I get my stuff done and like how much I want to do and that aspect.
When it came to coming out of the rotation, the bullpen, were you someone? Did you like being kind of in the closer's high leverage role more than starting, or did you have like a preference between the two?
Uh, it's weird because in high school I hated throwing out of the bullpen and I loved starting, but in college I kind of fell in love with being a closer, just the adrenaline and the rush you get. It's I kind of like the back against the wall scenario where it's we got one run in the ninth inning and we got one, two, three up at the plate. You got to get them out or you lose. But also I love starting. Like you're in control of the whole game. Everyone's got to go off what you do. The hitters have to react to how you're pitching that day, and it's just different challenges. And I kind of like overcoming challenges. It was new because as a closer, if you have two pitches, you're good. But as a starter, you need, especially for me with a three pitch mix only, you have to be able to have all three pitches at least workable. Maybe one's not as sharp today, but you can throw it in the zone and get people off your other pitches. So that was a big one. But I think I like starting more now. It was a lot of fun.
Did you have a walkout song when you were closing, or do you have like a go-to playlist that you would go to?
My walkout song for closing in Fullerton was "Big Room Never Dies." It was an EDM song, but that was like the college mindset, get all the college kids hyped in the stands. But here, it was "Nightmare" by Avenged Sevenfold, so it was a complete 180.
I kind of don't hate either of those though. Um, I do want to follow up on Jamie's question there. Of it's your first pro season. You're in Salem. Um, what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome about your transition to pro ball compared to college? Like, was it can be on or off the field or both? Like, whether it's just like the schedule. You're doing 6-game series, so you're in one place for 6 days now. Or it could be, living with roommates that, you didn't really know before. Or it could just be the competition you were facing. Like, what kind of things did you like, okay, like this is a little different.
Big one was just being away from my family. Like Fullerton is only it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours from my house. So, and then my first 2 years I went to San Diego State, so I was right at home. So that was a big change. Even at Fullerton, like if I needed a getaway, I could just go drive home and hang out with my family, see my family. So that was a big adjustment. Like I'm across the country, my family's not here. I only see them if they're able to fly out. That was huge. The roommate thing wasn't that big of a scenario or a situation. My last year, Fullerton, I lived with 8 guys in a 5 bedroom, so
Oh,
there's not there's not many issues as big as that one. And so adjusting to we have one roommate, we both have our own rooms. Like that was breezed compared to 8 guys in a 5 bedroom. Um, yeah, the competition was different. In college, you'll see like the bottom 3 guys usually aren't your best hitters. You can beat them with some mistakes, and then now, if you make a mistake, more than likely it's going to get hit hard, and they're gonna capitalize and they're gonna punish you for making that mistake. So it's not being too perfect, but it's also finding the balance where all right, I'm not leaving my fastball middle, or I'm not leaving my changeup up, or something like that.
um, I did want to ask too, as I said earlier, you look at the stat sheet, it's pretty good. And you struck out 93 guys in 58 innings. When did you kind of realize throughout your season that your strikeout numbers were getting pretty high and that, your K per nine was probably the highest on the team? Like, when did you kind of like reach a point where like, okay, like I'm having some success here in pro ball?
I try not to really look at stats. If you look at my first 2 years in college, they were pretty rough. So I beat myself up a ton over that. So my goal, especially being brand new, being my first year, I was trying to just stay in my lane and do what I can do and do what I can control. And I can't control the stats once the game's over. So I was trying not to really look at it. But one of my friends brought it up at the end of the year when I was still hurt. He was like, we were playing PGA Tour, and he was looking at my stats. And he was like, "Dude, you still lead the team in strikeouts, and you haven't pitched in a month and a half." And I was like, "Oh, I, okay." Like I didn't know. I knew I was striking out a fair amount of guys because I went on a run where I was striking out like 8 guys per game, but I didn't know where I was at or compared to anything like that. So that was the moment I found out, and I was like, "All right, like I'm doing pretty well."
Yeah, and I was also in regards to just like you did get hurt for a little bit. That, like you said, you hadn't pitched in a month. So, well, I guess how was that? I guess dealing with the injury and ultimately coming back.
It was frustrating, but my sophomore year I got hurt and missed the entire year. So my goal was just to at least come back at some point. And we had a great training staff in Salem that was just giving me my plan, and we'd go in and work every day. And whether that be one of them come off the field and one stays out there to watch the other guys getting their early work in, and they come in and work with me. But it was frustrating to get hurt, especially when I was at the time I got hurt. It was All Star break. Felt like I was doing pretty good. Possibly could get promoted. So I feel like the timing was more frustrating. I know people are bound to get injured. If you look at Walker Bueller, he got hurt back-to-back years, Tommy John twice, and he's pitching in the World Series. So I knew like I'll be able to come back from it. It wasn't major. It was a muscle strain or inflammation. So it was just kind of put my head down and work. But I was frustrated in the moment, especially like wanting to come back and pitch. And I felt healthy at a time where they were saying like there's no point to rush. So that was a big frustration part for me. Like I love playing baseball and I love pitching, and sitting there watching on the sidelines was tough, but I realized like they have the best in mind for me, and they're trained medically and I'm not, so the best idea is to listen to them and not try to force anything.
All right. Jamie, I'll throw to you because I got a completely different topic.
Yeah. And so how would you say the Red Sox have helped you grow your game, since the day you joined the system up until now?
Well, big one, helping me figure out the consistency of my slider, and then kind of forcing me to grow up and be an adult and realize that, all right, this is what I've wanted to do, and they've given me the ability to be able to do it, but it's also on me or my shoulders to do it. And then just they've been supportive, helping me through everything. Like I said, the training staff in Salem when I got hurt was there every day. Even if they were making times for me to come in early, if I needed to stay late, they would help me. And then I think a big thing that helped me this year was our pitching coaches, Juan and Wheels. Those guys are geniuses. It kind of feels like any problem you had, they would be able to figure it out for you and like help you with three things that you could help to fix one problem and see which one works for you. So I just think like just being there and like supporting me was a big thing, because at some points like it feels like your back's against the wall and you're on your own, and it didn't really feel like that here this year. So that was a big one for me.
Yeah, we've talked about on other pods, but it's been good to see kind of the team with pitchers like yourself, Hugh Dobbins, just there be kind of a pipeline when it comes to pitching prospects, which I feel like hasn't been a thing in the organization for a while.
Yeah, I was also gonna like top on that too. Like it's cool to see like as well. Like I feel like you kind of go through the years sometimes, and there's a group of lefties up in AAA, and then you maybe have like a couple lefties in AA, and then you get like the guys that were just drafted down there, and and you shared a pen last year and pitching staff with a few other left-handers that were throwing pretty well. I know Noah Dean got bumped up at a point. I know Dalton Rogers has been down there. Zach Fogel got bumped up. But what was it like, I guess, just seeing all these other guys down there, succeeding, and obviously like seeing all those guys get bumped up, and I guess sharing a rotation with them and even a bullpen with them?
It's great. I mean, I look at all these guys like family. We spend countless hours together, and it feels like we're just one big family. So you're always supporting them, and there's never any animosity. When you see a guy go up, you're more than happy to see him go up, because they're working just as hard as you are. And I mean, getting to pitch with Dean was awesome. Like we throw pretty similar, so we could bounce ideas. He had really helped me with my slider and like a feel point of how he felt throwing it, and it was something I kind of took from him. So it was really cool. Plus, he strikes out a ton of guys, so it was like, all right, like I can see how he sets up his slider, his changeup, or his curveball, and like where he throws his fastball to get outs. So I mean, when you have the other guys who throw similar to you and they're also having success, it's awesome, because then you can take what they're doing and try to implement it into your game and see if it can help you succeed as well.
I do have to ask too, because I know you're a California kid, and you had brought it up earlier, and I was kind of debating. I was like, should I even ask this? Like, I don't know, but we had Austin Ehrlicher on a few episodes ago, who's also a California kid, and it got brought up. So I want to ask you too. So obviously the World Series just happened. And you brought up Walker Buehler earlier, so I'm curious if you grew up a Dodgers fan or Giants guy.
I was a Dodger guy. Just my dad was born in Brooklyn, and then I would go to my grandma's house every Monday, and she would like to iron or do her chores, and it's pretty easy to get me locked into a game. And usually it used to be a Dodger game because she grew up watching the Brooklyn Dodgers. So that's how I kind of got jumped into it. A lot of people in San Diego aren't big fans of me growing up a Dodger fan, but you know,
Yeah, I guess I said Giants, but I should have said Padres.
yeah. Never really was into the Padres. I mean, it was cool to watch Trevor Hoffman growing up, but it was kind of weird.
Okay, so because Ehrlicher grew up a Giants fan, so I asked him that tough question of being like, you obviously are a Red Sox employee, but at the same time, it's like, you grew up, rooting for the Dodgers. So I'm like, who are you rooting for? Because obviously, or the Giants. So I'm like, he hates the Dodgers growing up, but then, he's in a Red Sox uniform. So like, you just kind of have to just like, I don't really like the Yankees. So I guess yours is a little different though. I think everybody in New England was on the same side you were on. So
I don't know. For me, when I got into high school, I cared just more about watching good baseball and seeing like good ball be played instead of watching the Dodgers win. It was it was just weird. I just stopped caring so much about how they did and just wanting to see good games. So I don't know if I would even be counted as a Dodger fan anymore. I mean, now I'm with the Red Sox. Obviously, I want to see us win the World Series every year.
Who were some of your favorite players to watch growing up?
Kershaw was an easy one. Sale, and then I kind of watched a lot of older guys because my dad, he would always be like, "Hey, go on YouTube and watch Sandy Koufax throw one of his no hitters. Like he's one of the best pitchers of his generation. Those 8 years, he was the best guy." And I'm like, "Okay, Dad, like sure, I'll go watch him." But it was mainly like Kershaw and Sale. Just growing up left-handed, you kind of gravitate towards other lefties since, I mean, we're more, I don't want to say a rare breed, but you see less of us around. So when you see two dudes going at it, best pitcher, best lefties every year, it's like those are the two dudes I watch the most.
Yeah, it is kind of funny, Jamie. I was thinking about this the other day because I think Ed asked that question to somebody, and it was one of those things where I forgot who they said. I think it was Will Turner, and he said Andrew McCutchen was like his favorite player growing up, and I'm just like, that is crazy to me because Andrew McCutchen is still playing. Yeah. So whenever Jojo just said Kershaw, I'm like, I just watched Kershaw shirtless on the field, like literally still on the team. But it's just you were born in 2002, so it's like, we're 90s kids. Me and Jamie are 90s kids, so
it makes me feel old. I'll throw like Ortiz or Hunter.
I know.
Hunter too would throw in there.
Well, we were talking about it yesterday in the locker room more for like basketball because LeBron is getting towards the time of his retirement. And we kind of just started talking about the guys in baseball. Like Kershaw's probably at the end of his span. Sale has a few more years. I mean, all the guys we grew up watching are getting ready to retire, and it's going to be a new generation. It's just like, all right, this is weird. Like, those are guys I grew up idolizing, and now they're almost done. So, but also, I did really like watching Griffey. I got to see, when I was like 4, I got to see his last few years. But
okay, so you do remember it a little bit.
Yeah, I saw when he was in Cincinnati with the Reds. I think that's when I remember watching him.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't know if that was like, because it's one of those things, man, where it's like, I just hit 30, so like I'm feeling a little bit older, but you're starting to see some of these guys that get inducted in the Hall of Fame. I think Jamie had some technical difficulties. He's back.
We're back. Wi-Fi God struck me too.
It's all good. But you see some of these guys now, like every year the Hall of Fame ceremony comes around, and you're just like, holy cow, like Joe Mauer is a guy that like I was playing MVP baseball back in like 2000, 2006, 2005, and it's like I was using Joe Mauer.
I still have the '07 show where he's the cover.
That's '07, the show. Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
And it's like this guy is like now, and he's like up for Hall of Fame like this past year, and it's like, what the heck, man? It's like makes you feel a little old. All right, I got some random questions for you here. A little off the field, a little on the field, maybe. I need to know, and for people out there also looking for suggestions, I know Justin Reamer was open to all suggestions on our last episode. But are you watching any good shows lately?
I just started watching Yellowstone. It's pretty old, or it's not pretty old, but it's been out for a while. So I don't know if that's a good suggestion, but
Okay.
I
It's a good
watch more
show.
YouTube than shows. So I can't really occupy myself too long or like sit down in one place and just binge watch a show. So I'll get like 10 minutes into an episode. Like, all right, I want to go do something else. Like, uh,
I
most
was
of the
like
time it's
that.
background.
Yeah, I was like that until I have a wife, and then you gotta do it. So
That's how my girlfriend is. She loves to just watch a movie. And she'll be like, let's watch this together. And I'm like, okay. Then it'll be 20 minutes. I'll be on my phone. And she's like, watch the movie. Like, I'm sorry. Okay. Like, I'm trying to.
that's fair, man. It happens. Like the switch flipped. I don't know when or how, but I was the same way where I'm like, I really don't have any interest to sit and like binge watch a show. And then as soon as I met my wife, I was like, we would sit on a couch for like 4 hours and keep watching a show. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. I did get used to it. I like it now, but I didn't like it at the beginning. So I feel that.
Yeah.
How about so well, you're not a movie guy either. Do you even have like a favorite movie of all time? Like everybody's got that one movie though that you either watched as a kid or it's like, even if it's just there for background noise. Do you have like a favorite of all time?
Dirty Harry. Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if
It's
I've
like
seen that.
he's a detective in it. It was a show that my dad had. My dad loves Westerns. So then it turned into my dad also loves Clint Eastwood. And then I love John Wayne, Clint Eastwood. So then when Clint Eastwood started branching off and doing other movies, he didn't care. And so he bought the Dirty Harry movies. He had all those. And I just remember watching it as a kid. And there's one scene that I fell in love with, and he quotes it, but a little more modern, I guess. Step Brothers. You can't go wrong
Oh
with
yeah.
that.
There we
Great
go.
movie.
There we go. That's what I was looking for there. That's just like an easy quotable, like just you can just put it on the background. It's make you laugh every now and then. That's a good
It,
one.
it never fails to make me laugh, and I laugh at the same parts every time. Same with like Talladega Nights. I
Oh
can't
yeah.
like it's the same like scenes every time, and I laugh every time, and it's like, all right, I've seen this 100 times. Why is it still funny?
Yeah, I told myself it was on TV not that long ago, Talladega Nights, and I told myself that I wouldn't laugh at the prayer scene. And every single time, though, it's just like the way they deliver it. It's just like I know exactly what they're gonna say. I know like what happens, and it's still funny. It's just one of those things, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jamie already asked you about the walkout song, so I don't have to do that one. But I got a sort of food related question / like California question. What are Californian thoughts on being up in the mountains in Virginia?
Uh, I liked it. I mean, it was different, but it was peaceful. It was quiet. I think a big thing for me was I went to Alaska for my freshman year of summer ball in college, and I kind of fell in love with being in like the wilderness and being able to like hike and just let go of everything that's going on outside. So being surrounded by it was awesome. And then, I mean, the views from the field in Salem, you look out over right field and there's just a mountain with trees covering it. It's like you can't beat this.
Okay. I know California's got some good views out, kind of out like Eastern California, but
Yeah.
I still have that on my bucket list to get out there. But I've driven through the Virginia mountains before. They are beautiful. All right. I got a roommate question. This came up recently because we had your former teammate Matt Duffy on a show earlier this week, and Duffy made me realize something. So I think the roommate is a very roommate whatever very important aspect of your season because it can make or break people like throughout. You have to live with this guy for months on end or group of guys. I'm curious who your roommates were, what the vibe was like, because Duffy right now was describing his current setup in the complex. And there's guys like Noah Dean, Blake Wehunt, Hayden Mullins, Connolly Early. And it's just like, that's an incredible group of guys. And they're obviously like screaming at the TV, playing Call of Duty every night and all that stuff. What was what was your situation like during the season, even like now in the complex? Like, I guess, how was it for you?
In the season, it was cool. I had Blake and then CJ Weens to start the year. Blake got called up. CJ got traded. So I was in a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom by myself. Then Valera got called up. He got added to my house, which obviously it was a little nerve wracking being a language barrier. And he and I became good friends. I love him. And then Jefferson got traded as well. And then one more got moved into my house, and I switched into Connor Steinbaugh's room, just so there was no language barrier anymore. They could speak with each other freely and do whatever they wanted. And it was Connor and I, and it was fine. I mean, even while I was living with them and they had a language barrier, they never failed to make me laugh. And they would just say my name, and they'd be like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, how are you guys?" It was awesome to like see that even though there's a language barrier, like we still mesh. And I see Valera every day at the complex and always walks by me and says JoJo. I was just like, hey, how are you? Like, it's cool to see like we can still be friends, even if we can't have in-depth conversations. But that's a big thing for me. I'm trying to learn Spanish so I can talk to them and you know, be able to be friends with everybody.
Oh yeah, I've been on Duolingo quite a bit. Just because when we were in the Worcester clubhouse, it's like there's a whole like Spanish corner of the locker room that I would
Yeah,
love to go talk to. It's just that the language barrier, man, it's real. And it's just like, I know these guys are, learning English and they're trying their best, but it's just like, it's tough. So it's like I've been cranking away on Duolingo for next season. It's just like I want to be able to have like some conversations with these guys because they're here and they're doing their best to try to learn English. So
yeah. That's
it's the
that's the way
least.
I'm looking at it. Like they learn or they're trying to learn English, so the least I could do is try to learn Spanish. And maybe if we have broken conversations in English and broken conversations in Spanish, like maybe it'll be like, all right, like he's understanding like that it is hard to learn a new language, and hopefully that can bring us all closer. But I mean, also they're really funny, so if I can hear their jokes in Spanish, that'd be better than having like Nathaniel Cruz was a big translator for us, or Albert Felice, or even Marvin. It was like they would translate it. Like, all right, that's really funny, but I would have loved to like understood it like right when he said it, and
Yeah.
not have to hear it third party. So
All right, Jamie, I got two food related questions to end us on. Do you have anything before I wrap us up?
Yeah. So first one is, what's your go-to karaoke song?
mm, could go really basic and say Tennessee whiskey. Um,
That's a great choice.
Solid.
uh, or Midnight Train to Memphis. That one.
All right, two solids.
And also, when you're not playing baseball, like what's some things like you do to just unwind?
Play golf. Right now, playing Call of Duty. I'm trying to get Dark Matter, the master camo, but I don't know if that'll happen. It takes a lot of time, a lot more time than I thought it would, and I just like I don't have the patience to sit here and do all of that. but golf's a big one.
Do you have a
It's
favorite course that you've ever played at?
the one.
Uh-oh, Jamie.
I don't know.
Think
My
we
God.
Am I still here?
there we are. We're back.
You guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got you.
Someone just called me.
Oh, it's all good.
Wait, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got you.
I cannot hear you guys.
I will say, Jamie, if JoJo does not say one of the California courses, though, I will be upset.
I know. That's perhaps one of the best courses out there.
I think if we just keep talking until
gotta,
you got us.
I got a spam call and it messed all my audio
Oh man,
up. Oh, good. Been getting a ton of those lately. It's terrible.
they're on the rise, man. But
yeah.
Jamie, if you want to re-ask it, maybe it's
Yeah. Or just some of your favorite courses that you've been to. I bet in California there's some pretty good ones out there.
I don't play a lot of nice courses. I'm not too good, so I don't want to spend all my money and then
that's
be
fair.
looking for my golf ball the whole time because I'm playing at a nice course who expects good golfers to be there. So they put hazards in places, and that's not that fun when I have to go fishing for my ball every time.
I went
Alright,
once in
fair.
Florida last year, and I think I lost 15 balls in like the first hour. It was not a great day for a golf ball.
Yeah, Florida golf is scary because there's a ton of water everywhere, and then there's just a ton of houses.
Yep.
So it's like I'm either going to the water or I have the ability to break someone's window, and that's terrible.
There's one
Those are
time I went
terrible
last
odds.
year. There was an alligator just like hanging out on the side near the tee box. My friends were from Florida. I was just like, that's definitely not normal being from Boston. They're like, just hit your ball, it'll be fine. I was like, all right, I'm happy this is just a casual, we're just going to casually do this.
Yeah, that was a big one for me. Like we don't have alligators in California. And someone looked at me and was like, "They're more scared of you than you are of them." And I was like, I don't think so. I don't have the ability to rip their arm off as fast as they could rip mine off. So I think I'm more scared of him.
Yeah.
All right, JoJo, I got 2 food-related questions for you before we get out of here. We didn't have you on the show last year, so I didn't get the chance to ask you this question. But I asked every guy that came on in the system. And you're a California guy, and you also lived in Virginia for a little bit there, so I'm going to trust you on this one. It's about fast food fried chicken places in particular. If you had every single option as an option for you to go to, and all of them were right there, got to have a drive-through, what place are you going to?
Canes. No
So
question.
fast.
No question.
That was so fast.
As soon as you said fried chicken, I had the answer in my head.
You do know, though, that the best fried chicken place has a location that's right next to the complex, and it's called Zaxby's.
Yeah, I do. It's all right. I mean, for me, it's not the chicken. It's the sauce that makes it the best. But I mean, I feel like every chicken is pretty similar, especially at like a fast food restaurant when they fry the chicken. And to me personally, I feel
But
like,
Chick-fil-A chicken compared to like even Cane's isn't the same.
but I feel like those are different. Like Chick-fil-A acts like it's a little bit healthier than Cane's does.
Okay, I might give you that.
I feel like Cane's and Zaxby's are more of a similar, at least to me. But yeah, it's the cane sauce. I think Chick-fil-A has the best tasting chicken, but Cane's has the best sauce. And for me, sauce is a big one. So
Oh well, you're in for a world of struggle bus on this next question, because this was the question I was going to end it on. It's a sauce related question. Your former teammate Max Carlson signed off on this question and said that it says a lot about somebody based on how they answer this one, and I tend to agree. So we'll end you on this. So you said you're a big sauce guy, which I am too. So for this experiment, you got 3 of your fingers, and you can only dispense 3 sauces out of those fingers for the rest of your life, and you can't have any other sauce ever again. You can only have those 3 that you pick. What 3 sauces would you pick?
Cane sauce. Um, the the show Hot Ones.
Yeah.
One of
Oh no, Jamie, we got left on a cliffhanger again.
I think we're
All right, we
back.
got you.
Yeah. So any of the ones on the hotter side, because they kind of switch them up a lot. So sometimes one isn't available. So any of those Hot
Okay.
Ones makes great sauce. And then, are we counting like gravy as a sauce?
I mean, we allowed it already for
Gr-
somebody, so I'll allow it.
You got to go gravy. It goes with everything. You can have it with on Thanksgiving with turkey. You can put it on prime rib. You can do anything with it. It's a versatile sauce, and I think those are the 3. I mean, you can live without ketchup. Um,
I was about to tell you that I was going to rebuttal and say, be careful, because that means, you were saying that that the other ones were versatile. You left off mayo, you left off ranch, you left
uh,
off ketchup.
it's just like I feel like cane sauce has all of those in there, so you get the great flavors already. It's
All
like
right.
you eat eggs, you can throw the hot sauce on it. You eat chicken, you can throw the cane sauce on it. You can go crazy, put the buffalo sauce on it.
Okay. All
I
right.
feel
That's
like
true.
Well,
Brings up a good
ma-
point.
mayonnaise I would not eat on anything other than a sandwich though.
you're
So
sleeping on mayo, man. Sleeping on it.
I mean, do I need to be Will Levis and put it in my coffee?
I think that's going too far.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that either, but no,
He
I
got
mean, there.
he got an ad over it, so he's making money off putting mayonnaise in his coffee. So
True.
is it really going
Fair.
too far if you're getting some
That
good checks from it?
that might be how you get the Zaxby's promotion, Andrew. If we can mix in, mayo or something.
I guess, man. I mean, they're your fingers, so whatever you want for the rest of your life. That's the second gravy I've gotten so far. I did get chocolate sauce from Matt Duffy, which was very interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one.
but yeah, it's second gravy, and then people are sleeping on ketchup or even mustard, like whatever you like. Sleeping on
Uh,
that. Ranch has been totally disregarded as a whole, which I find astonishing. And then, yeah, I mean, but they're your fingers, man. Like you like what you like, but
I feel like also though, like ketchup, mustard, and ranch, like they're always there. They're like they're there for you. You know, they're always going to be there for you to fall back on. So I feel like that's why they get overlooked a lot. Like everywhere you
yeah, I
go, you
guess.
always see ketchup, ranch, sometimes mustard. And it's like these other sauces. It's special because you can only get cane sauce from Cane's. Gravy you have to make it, and usually you only get it on special occasions or if you go out. And then hot
No,
sauce. I
listen,
mean,
I'm a gravy guy. I'm not talking, but just never have ketchup or ranch or anything ever again. It's tough for me, man. It's tough. So
yeah, I've been putting hot sauce on my eggs for about a year now. So that one kind of phased ketchup out for me. And then, man, can't. You know what? You bring up a good point because what am I gonna put on my burger now?
telling you, man, it's a tough question, and you were fast with it though. So
You poked a
think about
big
that one.
hole. You poked a big hole in the thought bubble that I had going on, and now
I'm
now
telling you,
I'm just
man.
lost.
If you need to sleep on it and send me a message later on and change your answers, that's fine with me. But I'm not putting a deadline on it. But
I already said
Jojo,
it. I got to stick with it.
all
Said
right,
it. I got to
I
stick to it.
I appreciate the just to sticking with it, stick with your guns. But Jojo, we appreciate you hopping on. You gave us 45 minutes of your time. Thank you so much for hopping on. We're looking forward to seeing you in spring training, and hope the rest of the offseason treats you well.
Thank you for having me.